you like movies and have time to spare, you need to follow Tina LockLair. LockLair, 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 LockLair.
Tina LockLair's here with the vibes. If you like movies, come subscribe. This page is all of the tea and rumors, theories and stories, we full of humor. If you like movies and have time to spare, you need to follow Tina LockLair, LockLair, LockLair. Follow LockLair.
If you like movies and have time to spare, you need to follow Tina LockLair.
LockLair,
LockLair, Tina LockLair,
LockLair,
LockLair.
follow LockLair, follow LockLair,
Follow LockLair,
follow LockLair,
follow LockLair,
follow LockLair.
Got to take y'all to the motherland every time. Oh, look at this lip gloss. It's a lot. Listen, what up, y'all, man? I need to check and see if my special effects are working. Let me test something here. Okay, look like they're working. All right, we in business. Y'all, last week, I streamed the whole time and my special effects was not working. I was pissed off. I was pissed off that my special effects wasn't working. But yeah, man, if y'all are in with me this weekend, this good Saturday, I appreciate y'all stepping in. I'm going to try to do my streams, about 2-3 o'clock every Saturday. That way, if y'all need to go to the movies later on at night, y'all ain't got to be on live with me. So I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Is my audio working? I see that Andre Ware is in here. Said, what up? Let me know if I'm supposed to bring the biscuits. Oh, Jesus. Andre, you and Dre Mac and the biscuits, I cannot with y'all and the goddamn biscuits, okay? But if you're in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. I got Noble Heart said, I am loud and clear. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. I got to check one thing here. London calling. What's up, Stamina? Thank y'all for coming in and hanging out with me. I just have to check one thing and then we are going to get this thing moving. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all, man. This is going to be a heavy Game of Thrones stream. We are going to get into some Marvel stuff towards the end. In the beginning, we're just going to go over like a lot of little random news that's going on this week. So if you're only here for Marvel stuff and you want to come back later, that's when we'll really get into that. But let me just check one thing. I got to make sure my bombs are working. Hold on. Did y'all hear my bomb? Because if my bombs ain't working, I can't move forward. Because y'all know I dropped my bombs over Baghdad. Hold on. Okay, bombs are working. All right, we finna get into this, man. So, Andre Ware is here. Thanks for always supporting me. Noble Heart, I don't know you. You look a little new. Are you new here? If you are new, thanks for stopping in. Stamina said London is calling. Stamina, and guess what, Stamina? I don't think I have any spoilers this week, so I think you are gonna be good to go. Andre Ware said, we hear them. Hear the bombs, y'all. I need my bombs. Because last week, I streamed for the whole hour and my bombs wasn't working. I was so pissed off when I went back to listen. I was mad. All right, let me get everything pulled up and we are going to get into it. So I won't take up too much of y'all time. Just want to let y'all know, if y'all care about me, y'all support me, y'all love me, make sure y'all subscribe, follow if you're not already subscribed and following. I appreciate that. If you ever want to donate to the channel, y'all know y'all can always drop super chats or super stickers, all of that good stuff to support me, because all of this stuff costs money. The bombs, The bombs cost money, all right? None of it's free. So if y'all want to support me and keep me going, I appreciate it. If y'all ain't got no money because this economy is rough, you ain't got to give me nothing. But if tax time gets here and you have an extra little $5, you know what I'm saying? Shoot your girl a little donation. All right. Noble Heart says, been watching for almost a year, I think. Love your content. Okay, you've been a little quiet then. I've never seen you. I usually are pretty familiar with people who are here. Stamina says, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, love it all. Yeah, I do my spoiler no spoilers. I don't think I have a lot of spoilers this one, Stamina. But let's get into it. Let's get everything pulled up so we can get this thing going and y'all can get out of here and go enjoy y'all Saturdays. I don't want to keep y'all here too long. All right. So we are going to kick it off with, and just to prepare y'all, like I said, this stream, Game of Thrones, Marvel, a lot of Game of Thrones this live, and just some other random news that's came out this week. But let's get into it. So we're going to start it off with Variety is reporting that Disney is developing a live-action spinoff of Beauty and the Beast. Just dropping this news down for all of y'all Disney fans, Disney princess fans, or if you have daughters and your daughters like all the Disney princesses, there's supposed to be a spinoff in the works of Beauty and the Beast. Looks like Disney is pretty like steadfast on doing a lot of these live action remakes. I know it's kind of controversial. Some people like them, some people don't, but looks like they want to make a Beauty and the Beast spinoff, and this time it's going to focus on Gaston. Now, I haven't watched Beauty and the Beast in God knows when. I can't even remember Gaston's role in the freaking movie or whatever. But yeah, Disney wants to make a Gaston spinoff. Are there Gaston fans out there? Like, who is asking for this? What happened to the Hercules? Where is the Hercules live action? Ain't nobody asked for Beauty and the Beast. We want to see Hercules. We want to see the Muses. Come on. Can we get Hercules done first and then Hyena before we start spinning off to Gaston? Like, who asked for Gaston? Is it Gaston fans out there? Why are we doing this? I don't know. Let's move on. All right, next up, we have some casting for God of War. Looks like Ryan Hurst has been cast as Kratos in the live-action TV show God of War series. Now, this project will be coming on Amazon Prime, and this is going to be a father-son story. It seems like all of the content these days are about kids, fathers, sons, mother, kids. So I know some God of War fans were a little upset about this because they ain't ready to get to the father-son like scenario. They say Kratos, we want to see Kratos like monster slaying and dealing with all the other gods. We don't want to see Kratos walking around with his son. Damn. Why can't we just start from the beginning? I guess they feel like if y'all done played the game, y'all already know what's going to happen. So we ain't going to start there. But I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake that we are not starting closer to the beginning of Kratos' story. But nevertheless, everybody seems happy with this casting. Looks like the fandom is good with it. So, yeah, Ryan Hurst is going to be playing Kratos in the God of War series that's coming on Amazon Prime. Let's check the comments, see what y'all got to say. Noble Heart says, facts. Stamina says, I feel no way about watching those old cartoons as long as I live, but those remakes have zero appeal to me. Damn, Stamina, you giving it to him. Andre Rare says, I always wanted to play God of War. What do you mean you always wanted to play it? Just play it. What we waiting on? Go play it. It's a pretty cool game. I'm not even like a gamer. Back in the day when I would get bored, I'd sometimes play. I got a game in my closet right now. It's a PlayStation. I don't even play it. But when what's the game? When Grand Theft Auto comes out, yeah, I'm getting me a newer PlayStation. I'm getting me either a PS5 or I don't know if the PS6 gonna be out by then. I will be playing Grand Theft Auto. I don't know. Listen, and me and some of my counterparts, we're talking about how like people just feed off of negativity. People love negative stuff because why is Why is Grand Theft Auto like one of the biggest games of all time? Grand Theft Auto, Mortal Kombat, all the violent, vile games are like huge games because people just like to do and play negative stuff. I don't know why. That is why drama is like one of the biggest like genres in movies and stuff because people like drama. People like drama. Yeah, yeah. But that's what we have for God of War. Looks like we have a complete casting for Ryan Hurst. Stamina says, I have 5 thumbs on each hand. I'm worse than useless at gaming. I can understand that. Everybody's not a good gamer. All right, next up, we are talking about Ryan Coogler. All right, let's talk about Ryan Coogler and his X-Files TV show. So Coogler stated that his version of the X-Files will have a similar structure as the original show. They're going to continue to do Monsters of the Week, plus an overarching conspiracy as well. Now, we heard last year, I think from Jeff Snyder, that Danielle Deadweiler may be the lead in the show. We don't know who she's going to partner with. We need to find out who her co-star is going to be. But I'm interested to see what a Coogler X-Files show consists of. Looks like he's spreading his wings and dipping his foot in the TV content. So I guess we'll see how that turns out. Back when X-Files was out, I wasn't super young, but I just didn't watch it for some reason. So I think it's interesting that Ryan Coogler's like, yeah, I want to do X-Files. But I guess we just got to see how this goes. I'm interested to see what's his take on X-Files. And it already looks like there's going to be a little change because back in the day, the 2 leads were, they were white people. And it looks like he is eyeing Daniel Deadweiler to lead it. So we just got to see who her co-star is. But I'll definitely I'll tune in. Hopefully it's successful. If y'all remember, or maybe I don't know if y'all know it or not, Jordan Peele did what was it that Jordan Peele did? It was the what was the Jordan Peele project that he tried to do that didn't work out? Let me look it up here. Twilight Zone. So we already saw Jordan Peele try to do his take on Twilight Zone. I think it only got 1 season. But looks like Ryan Coogler says, hey man, I want to try to do the X-Files. And if I'm 100% sure, I think this is a Disney property because I think the X-Files was owned by Fox. So we talk about this almost every week that Ryan Coogler and Disney they are locked in. It seems like whatever he want to do, they roll out the red carpet for him because he's doing the Black Panther franchise. Now he has the X-Files. We just learned earlier this week that Kathleen Kennedy sat down with him, tried to get him to do Star Wars. He said, that ain't really my thing. And I don't know if y'all know this as well, but he also pretty much EP'd a Hurricane Katrina documentary. So Ryan Coogler and Disney are like knee deep with each other. All right. It looks like they trust him to do whatever he wants. They have rolled out the red carpet and said, Ryan, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And guess what? Y'all know how I feel. If he want to do it, let him get paid.
Get paid, young hitter, get paid.
Yeah, let him get paid. I'm with it. Make that money. All right. Next up, kind of sticking in the vein of Ryan Coogler, his buddy Michael B. Jordan. All right. Now we're going to put this in the rumor mill for right now because we haven't really got a full confirmation on if this Miami Vice movie is really happening. So we're going to keep this in rumor territory.
All the rumors are true, yeah. What you heard, that's true, yeah.
But reports are saying that Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler may start shooting Miami Vice this summer around June. And I'm interested. I want to know who the villain is going to be in this Miami Vice movie. But yeah, man, if this story is true, if Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan have nailed these roles down, I'm excited because the director, Joseph Kosinski, he's the same director who did F1, Top Gun Maverick, So we already know they're gonna be moving and grooving in this movie. Yeah. Yeah. This director, I don't know if y'all watch F1. F1 was great. I did not watch Top Gun Maverick, but I saw that it got great reviews. But this man has an eye for action. So if Joseph is doing Miami Vice and he wants Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler to be his leading men, I will be there. I will be there. I will be there because I like this team right here. I like this team of what they're kind of organizing. But let's check the comments out. Let's see what y'all got to say. All right. Jay the Informant said, my dad had this running all the time on the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm sure he's talking about when we were talking about X-Files. S. Jaddick says, I ain't sure about this project for Ryan Coogler. We still talking about X-Files. Wakanda ain't ever impressed me. Tech is kind of boring. Damn. S. Jaddick comes in here every week and he just drags Ryan Coogler and he just drags Shuri. S. Jaddick, I appreciate you. I love for people to come in with contrarian views. You are welcome here every week, S. Jaddick. Andre Rare says, I would prefer Ryan to go off on his own and definitely far away from Black Panther. Damn. Six the Truth says, Tina has been cooking and fucked around and missed it. No, Six, I've only been live 15 minutes. So I always start my live off with, some of the little random news. We'll get into the meat and potatoes a little bit later. Stamina says, F1 and Top Gun are high quality projects, but kind of standard, if I may say so. Good fun though. But Stamina, that's generally what, especially when you're making these kind of like big movies like this, like F1, Top Gun. It goes all the way back to like Independence Day. These movies are just supposed to be fun, high octane, high energy, and we just want to make some money. So I like these types of movies. You need them. S. Jaddick says, Peacemaker has better tech than anything in Black Panther. And every week I say I'm going to block S. Jaddick from this channel. Now, y'all see how it is? I was just complimenting him and say I need him. And then he come in here talking about Peacemaker got better tech than Black Panther. S. Jaddick, don't start. It's too early in the stream for this foolishness. Now. All right, next up, let's see what we got. We are going over to the good sister Issa Rae. Issa Rae making deals. So it's being reported that Issa Rae has signed a 3-year first look deal with Paramount for film and television. She previously had a big deal with HBO. I'm talking about 8 figures. All right. Issa Rae was getting paid over there at HBO. This is what Issa Rae has to say about her partnership with Paramount. She says, and I quote, looking forward to starting this next chapter with the incredible team at Paramount to tell stories for and by the diverse communities that have supported my work over the years. Now, y'all told me that Paramount was MAGA. That's what y'all told me. Now, they done gave Issa Rae a deal. I think Will Smith has a deal with Paramount. John Chu, the director of Wicked, he has a deal. So I always tell people, the one outlier for everything in the entertainment business is always money.
I like more than check.
It's money. So even if Paramount is MAGA, if you can make somebody money, or if you can make money from somebody, a lot of people will play ball. Yeah. Money will have you sometimes doing things you may not want to do, or things that may not align with you politically or morally or ethically. I can't really like comment too much on this whole Paramount situation, because it just sounds like it's going completely against how the media reported it. And don't get me wrong, I believe, y'all know me, I believe there's like structural racism everywhere. But hey, the people was making it seem like that Paramount just ain't fooling with nobody. If you are diverse, or if you are LGBTQ, but like I said, hey, they just giving out deals left and right to people of color, to LGBTQ people. So I don't know. I don't know where we stand. But what I'll say about Issa Rae is I'm sure Issa Rae has been meeting with all the studios in Hollywood, and it looks like she just want to rock out with Paramount. We'll see how this relationship blossoms. We'll see if they truly let her create the content that she wants. But man, shout out to Issa Rae and her first look deal. I'm not sure how much you can get done in 3 years. 3 years is a short amount of time to really like develop a lot of content, but hopefully she can get some stuff out over there at Paramount. It's just too many streaming services for me to keep up. I actually have Paramount Plus. I have it. I don't even pay for it, but it's just one of those apps that I just never open up. It's too many apps to keep up with, and the audience is so split. So even if Issa Rae, this is the bad thing about Issa Rae going to Paramount. Even if Issa Rae makes dope content over there, we already know it's going to be, mostly Black people. That's her audience. The problem with that being is it's just not a lot of people able to keep up with paying for all of these apps. And a lot of people, if we keeping it real, a lot of people, they just don't have Paramount Plus. They just ain't got it. They just ain't got it. I wish this deal was with Netflix. I wish she was able to work out a deal for Netflix. I kind of feel like it's gonna be a tough hill for minorities to kind of climb over at Paramount because, like I said, it's just an app, another app that people have to download, sign up, and pay for, and it's just too much. It's too much, man. But man, good luck for real. I hope that Issa Rae is successful. I hope that Issa Rae doesn't have to compromise who she is as a person or her morals if what she believes in just doesn't align with the politics of Paramount. But y'all know me. Y'all know how I am.
I'm rooting for everybody Black.
Yeah.
I am. Betting on Black tonight. Lovely.
That's me, always. Let's take a look at the comments. Let's see what y'all got to say. Billy is waiting, says, sup, everyone. Six the Truth says, Tina, these new Spider-Man full plot leaks are juicy. This could be better than Doomsday. Stamina says, that's a take. JD Informant says, damn, Peacemaker racist dad did rob Darkseid minion for the tech. S. Jaddick says, is she still a good sis if she's taking that MAGA Paramount money? I don't know, man. I don't know. Six the Truth says the struggle is real. All money isn't good money. Used to be the same, but in 2026, you better get every dollar that you can. This economy is tough. Dan the Man says, what's poppin', twin? What up, Dan the Man? S. Jaddick says, Paramount is only good for Star Trek and Americans and UFC, I suppose. Paramount might have paid her a bag, but ain't no one going to be watching Paramount Plus. It's not good value for the money. I agree. JD Informant says, I feel you on Paramount. I got Peacock for free and barely touch it. Yep. Stamina says, good luck to Issa over at MAGA Mount. I got to use that one. MAGA Mount. As long as she doesn't act, everything will be Gucci. Damn. Y'all doing my girl Issa wrong. All right, Issa, we moving on for you, sis. All right, let's get into some Game of Thrones news. Game of Thrones universe. All right. So the Hedge Knight, a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. This is a TV show coming from the Game of Thrones universe. This TV show will premiere tomorrow, Sunday, January 18th. We're getting 6 episodes. They're going to be short now, 30 minutes each. And y'all, I am totally excited for this show. Definitely going to be a little different than traditional Game of Thrones TV shows. And at this point in the timeline, when this show takes place, all of the dragons are gone. They gone. Ain't no more dragons. But the Targaryens are still here. The Targaryens are still here. I read this book a couple years ago, and I'm excited to see how it's adapted on screen. And like I always tell you guys, there's going to be changes from book to screen. One big change already is in the book, Dunk, he's only like 16 or 17 years old. In this adaptation, he obviously is a grown man. I've also seen that there's new characters being created for the TV show that's not in the books. So there's always going to be changes from book to film. That's just normal. Now, to tell you a little bit about Dunk's a little slow. Okay. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But if you're a Game of Thrones fan, especially if you've been watching House of the Dragon really gets into the propaganda of politics and how everyone shows up in front of people. Dunk is kind of a victim of propaganda because he was raised to believe that knights have honor, knights protect people, and knights have integrity. Like, he truly believes that. He embodies that. He's a character who you can easily love because he's just a good guy. But sometimes when you're a good guy and you get out into the world, you find out that some of the things you were taught isn't going to always show up in other people. So he has to go through this journey of, hey, man, maybe it's some bad people out in the world. So I'm definitely super excited for Dunk and Egg. Now, the creator of this whole universe, George R.R. Martin, has given the showrunner, Ira Parker, an outline for 10 to 12 more stories about Dunk and Egg, which is insane. Okay, because George has only wrote so far 3 books or stories of Dunk and Egg. There's only 3 books. 3 books for 3 seasons. HBO has already greenlit the 3 books for 3 seasons. And George R.R. Martin essentially done came out and said, well, I done created about 10 to 12 more stories. I don't have them fully written, but I got an outline, and he's given them to the showrunner of the show. So we could be getting more seasons of Dunk and Egg. I don't know, because we don't know what's going to happen with HBO if Netflix buys them. But what I can say is George R.R. Martin said, and I quote, this has been one of the most fulfilling creative partnerships of his career. So it sounds like the author really likes this show. He says it's very, for the most part, faithful to the adaptation from book to screen. And I just think since Warner Brother may end up buying Netflix, I think it does put a lot of things into question when it comes to the Game of Thrones universe, as well as DC. A lot of things are in flux right now, but we do know we're at least getting 3 seasons of The Hedge Knight. That's signed, sealed, and delivered. We will have 3 seasons of Dunk and Egg. Let's check out y'all comments. Nova Dragon says, what's up, everyone? S. Jadis says, George R.R. Martin nuked House of the Dragon. He said, that's wild, but he ain't wrong. They have not made a single good change to the lore besides like Black Valerians, which George likes. Yep, I'm going to talk about him going in on House of the Dragon. Jay the Informant said, let's go. No dragons, no problems. We have Egg. Yeah. Man, the kid playing Egg is like, he's dope. He's obviously a very smart, charismatic kid. He's confident. I like him. I like him. Six the Truth says, damn, Stamina, Burn, Paramount, and Issa Rae at the same time. Excuse me, MAGA Mount? Dan said, I ain't here for no damn Targaryens. Where my boy one at in the Giants? He says, also, your prayers have been answered. We got the Autobots looking right. So if y'all don't know, Dan the Man is one of the community members here. He's an actor. He was in Wakanda Forever. He's also working on a new Transformer project that's coming out. And I had some criticism for the Autobots. And it sounds like he's taking it back to that team and they're making some changes. Dan said, when are we going to run it back for that second interview? We got to get it done, Dan. I got a lot going on, but we're going to get that done. Jay the Informant says, 2-part question. I don't know what that means, Jay. Fill me in. All right. Next up. All right. House of the Dragon. All right. In other Game of Thrones news, we're going back in time to House of the Dragon. This show takes place before the Hedge Knight. The showrunner Ryan Connell has confirmed that House of the Dragon with Queen Rhaenyra will end with season 4. And that's always kind of been the timeline for the end of that story. But in all honesty, they really could have kept it going because the story technically doesn't end. This year right now is 2026. We're heading into season 3 of House of the Dragon. So I think we're aiming for a summer premiere. And this is the first time that we're getting 2 Game of Thrones projects in the same year because we're getting Dunk and Egg plus House of the Dragon. Now, George R.R. Martin, the author of all these stories, he's not happy with the showrunner of House of the Dragon. He's a little upset. He said this show is no longer about what he created. He said the showrunner, Ryan Condal, doesn't talk to him anymore, and he's the reason Ryan got a job. George said, I hired you, and now you don't want to answer my calls. Sounds like their relationship is freaking terrible at the moment. Now, this is what I'll say. This is what I'll say. Hold on. Let me pull up George and Ryan. I understand both of these guys' positions, right? George has the right to be upset that he feels like people are not honoring his source material and people are not honoring his input in the show. But George R.R. Martin sold his material to Warner Brothers, right? When you sell your intellectual property, your music, your movies, your books, your products, it belongs to somebody else. That's just the name of the game. George R.R. Martin is making a lot of money, a lot, off of selling this stuff to HBO. I am talking about George R.R. Martin is making 9 figures, y'all. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. George R.R. Martin is getting
Paid, young here to get paid.
paid. He's making money. He's making money. Now, Ryan Condal, the showrunner, is in a very, very, very tough position. When you're a showrunner or executive producer, you're dealing with the executives, the finance people telling you how much money you can't spend. You got to deal with the creators working on set. So Ryan Condal is getting it three different ways. It's constantly coming at him in 3 different ways. If George R.R. Martin is texting this man and calling him and aggravating him and not really helping the situation, I probably wouldn't answer his calls either. Don't call me aggravating me. You know what I got going on. Don't call me aggravating me. So, for example, when Game of Thrones started, y'all, if y'all remember, when Game of Thrones started, it was the Wild Wild West. Okay. Those first couple of seasons, we saw some crazy stuff. We saw people getting R-worded like crazy. In 2026, we're in a new era, and they're trying to make sure that these actors are comfortable on set. So it was reported that George was unhappy with how they handled Blood and Cheese in season 2. Ryan Condal, the creator, had to figure out a way to do Blood and Cheese without harming a little kid. And George is also upset because in the books, Helena had 3 kids, but on the TV show, she only has 2. They got rid of one of her sons called Maylor. Now, instead of George being mad at Ryan Condal, he might need to hit HBO up. Maybe HBO said, hey man, we ain't paying for no extra damn kids. Do she actually need this extra toddler child? Maybe it was an HBO call. So a lot of creative changes are being made to House of the Dragon. And I understand Ryan having to figure out a way to tell this story within the parameters of this new generation of media. But I also understand that George is upset that Ryan ain't answering his calls and don't want to talk to him no more. That's kind of messed up. George R.R. Martin is an elder man. That man calling Ryan, and Ryan Condal's like, nah. But George R.R. Martin is getting paid like $80 million per season. Sir, go on a vacation and finish your book, and don't let this TV show get your blood pressure up. But are y'all excited for House of the Dragon? Let's check the comments. Six of Truth says, damn, Tina, you got influence and pull like that? Autobots transform and roll out. I don't know if I got that much influence now. They asked me for some feedback, and I gave some feedback. And Dan the man said they taking the feedback in. That's all I'll say. All right, JD Informant says, 2-part question. Have you heard about John and Sansa actors doing a film right now? It looks good. And they also want to do a sequel, and HBO wants this as well. Yep, I'm going to talk about that next. JD Informant says, George R.R. Martin needs to sit his sassy ass down. Finish that book. George said, I started this gangster shit. They build dragons because of me. JD Informant says, The Dreadful making a reunion for Kit Harington, Jon Snow, and Sophie Turner. Sansa Stark. Dan the Man says, King Kong ain't got on George R.R. Martin. Put some respect on his name. JD Informant says, I love the sassy George wrote. I dislike the man. 60 Truth says, pause. Stamina says, George has the audience on his side, whether he has the moral high ground or not. I love me some House of Dragon, but I was one of the few without serious grievances. Yep. Natik says, I respectfully don't care for House of the Dragon, and good luck with all of these shows. Damn. Natik said, not my flavor. S. Jaddick says, I'm Team George R.R. Martin. Ryan Condal ain't putting out a good product. Deviating from George's source material has simply not resulted in the creation of a good product. Okay. Dan the Man says, George making sure he don't make the same mistake HBO did with season 8. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, could be. S. Jaddick says, for House of the Dragon or the original Game of Thrones show, hell, the further they got from the source material, the worse it got. I agree. The Magician says, what up, Tina? What up, the Magician? I'm glad to see you're in here. Stamina says, George is learning you never too big to get sent to the voicemail. Me. Because if you get to calling and texting and aggravating me and you're not helping the situation, I'm not going to answer. I'm not. Don't call me at 3:00 in the morning talking about why y'all ain't got Maylor in the TV show. I don't have time for that, George. That was probably a decision made 2-3 years ago. Don't call me and ask me that. Don't call me aggravating me. I don't blame Ryan Condal. Don't call me. I'm stressed out. All right, next up. Y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. If you like Jon Snow, you might want to leave because I'm a Jon Snow hater. But anyway, in the midst of George R.R. Martin ranting about being upset with House of the Dragon, he's interested in doing a possible TV show about Arya Stark. Listen. I like Arya Stark. Okay, that's my girl. But no, ma'am. We don't need this. We're almost 10 years past Game of Thrones. Leave Arya where she at. Okay? Leave her where she at. Okay? Sansa, leave her where she at. And Bronn, let Bronn finish this season sitting on the Iron Throne. Leave him where he at too. Okay? And definitely don't do anything surrounding Jon Snow. I am the leader of the Jon Snow hater club. I don't like Jon Snow. And you know why I don't like Jon Snow? I felt like Jon Snow never really wanted to walk into his true purpose. Battle of the Bastards. Sansa had to come in and save him. Had to get saved by Sansa. He wouldn't even put Ramsay Bolton down. He let Sansa do it. When he was fighting the White Walkers, Arya had to come in and clean that up. And then to make it worse, and then what really sent me over the edge with Jon, he killed the Khaleesi. That was it for me. You killed the Khaleesi.
Wow.
I was over it. She trusted you. She let you get close to her. Weak man. You killed her. And then he didn't stand on it either. He didn't stand on it strong. He was like, I'll just go back to the woods. He never wanted to be that guy. He was an imposter. From the moment we met him to the end, he was an imposter. He never wanted to step into his role of being a true Targaryen or a true Stark. He was cool with being a Snow. He accepted being a Snow even after people done told him, bruh, you a Stark. Bruh, you a Targaryen. He never really wanted to live in his purpose. And no disrespect to Kit Harington, right? The actor. He did a great job in that role. He did so good in that role that he made me hate Jon Snow. But sir, I don't want to see no more Jon Snow. He don't even want to be Jon Snow no more. So I definitely don't need to see no Jon Snow spinoff. Okay. Now, if we talking about a man who lives in his purpose, Aegon the Conqueror. All right. Aegon the Conqueror. All right. So Aegon the Conqueror. They have been working on this Aegon project for years. There's a writer attached to it. It's been in development for a long, long time. And it sounds like right now they're trying to figure out, should this be a TV show or a movie? And I think this is a no-brainer. This needs to be in the movie theater. Like, what are we talking about? First off, Aegon the Conqueror. They already don't have enough source material to tell this story. So it definitely don't need to be no TV show. Okay. Y'all ain't got enough source material to tell an Aegon the Conqueror TV show over, seasons. Don't do that. This is what I'll say. Bruh, get $100 million to $150 million and make this a movie. Make it a movie. Bro, you're looking at anywhere from $700 million to $1 billion that they can make off of this IP. And the good thing about making an Aegon movie is it's the beginning of everything. So the general audience doesn't need to know the rest of these stories like Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon to really enjoy this film, because it's literally the start. Now don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Aegon was a colonizer. Okay. Aegon was a colonizer. He came in and took over these people territory. But this is a story. This is a good story to bring people in. People who haven't watched House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, or The Hedge Knight. Because if they do this movie right, people are going to walk out and say, damn, that was a good, dope movie. Now I want to watch House of the Dragon. Now I want to watch Game of Thrones. So I think this is common sense. Make this a movie. Get you a good writer. Well, they already have a writer working on it. The writer of The Batman has been working on this show or this movie, if I remember correctly. I think that's the writer. Get you a good writer and bring somebody in like Zack Snyder, who did 300. I know the Snyderverse, the people be going crazy. I think Zack Snyder would do good on an Aegon the Conqueror movie, or go get the dude who did the John Wick films, and let's get this ball rolling, man. Let's make this a movie. What are we waiting on? Now, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know what would piss a lot of people off? Let me show you a video. I did this video 2-3 years ago. Let me show y'all something. Hold on.
In House of the Dragon, when they decided to make the Valerians a black family, oh my God, that changes the complete history of Westeros. Ayo, HBO, y'all gotta make Aegon the Conqueror mixed race. His mama is a black woman. Her name is Valena Valerian. That means her children, Aegon, Visenya, and Rhaenys, have African DNA in their veins, which means Aegon the Conqueror is not a white man. Aegon the Conqueror is a mixed race man on a dragon who conquered Westeros. And don't be mad at me. I didn't do it. I didn't make the rules. Y'all made the Valerians black. So since y'all made the Valerians black, y'all got to see this through to the end. That changes everything. Y'all made this decision, so y'all can now not whitewash Aegon. Don't do it. Y'all have got to follow through with this. Oh my gosh. Would y'all be interested in seeing Aegon the Conqueror and him being a mixed race man? Or do y'all want him to just be a white man?
See, this is what happened when you go away from the source material. Because now we might end up with a light-skinned Aegon the Conqueror. Do y'all think they should do an Aegon the Conqueror movie? Let me know. Let's check the comments. All right. Stamina says, Ryan says, it's above me now. Exactly. Six the Truth says, Tina, you don't want to see her return with the needle? No. And I love Arya, but I'm like, I'm over it. The actors are over it. Let's just let it go. Dan the Man says, the heck you mean we don't need a sequel? The future of this show needs correcting. Arya is on her way to find the true king of the Iron Throne. One long lost brother, the giant. Six of Truth says, snow or gun, choose, Tina. Mm. I'll take Jon Snow over Gunn, because Gunn is just weird. Gunn is just weird to me. So Jon Snow, if I had to pick Jon Snow or James Gunn, I'm choosing Jon Snow. James Gunn is a real person and does really weird things. Okay. Jon Snow is a fictional character, so I'll take Jon Snow. S. Jaddick says, in my opinion, you need to jump like 100 years into the future or something. Game of Thrones and Star Wars are in the same position for me. You can go into the past, but the future, or at least near future, is dead. I agree. We need like 100-year jump. Can y'all imagine a modern day Game of Thrones? They could make it like Succession. That would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Dan the Man said that was his crazy aunt. She had to go, big dog. Your night watch privileges has been revoked. You know nothing, Tina Snow. All love. Wow, Tina, that's a lot of misinformation about Jon Snow. Also, that crazy queen deleted herself. I'm gonna get off of Khaleesi up in here. Dan the Man says, what is it with y'all and these incest characters? Get Aegon and his 6 sisters up out of here. Find the Children of the Forest and one family. So Dan the Man, they were working on a Children of the Forest TV show. They filmed it and everything. $80 million on the first episode. HBO looked at it and said, nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. And unfortunately, the Targaryens are the heart and soul of the whole Game of Thrones. They're everywhere. So it's not like you can avoid the Targaryens. It's unfortunate. JD Informant says Aegon the Conqueror and his 2 sisters. Stamina says not trying to see Kit return for some cashes. He sounded very much done. Yeah, he sounds done. S. Jaddick says it should be a movie. Dan the Man says what they're doing with the Game of Thrones app is interesting. Your OC meets Jon Snow and the other characters in Winterfell. JD Informant says also Aegon the Conqueror failed at taking Dorne. He had to marry in. For sure. Dan the Man says might as well bring in Gandalf and cross over to Middle Earth. JD Informant says Aegon the Sister Hunter. Dan the Man says where my other sand snakes at? Redeem them ASAP. Dan the Man says I walk back my previous statement. If Aegon is mixed race, but change up the sisters for some sand snakes. JD Informant says when I see a brother and sister walking down the streets holding hand, I know his name is Aegon. Stamina says Aegon the Caramel in cinemas soon. I didn't make the rules. They did. They made the Valerians black. And if y'all look at Corlys is dark. Corlys is dark, which means his blood is thick. All I'm saying is Aegon the Conqueror's mama is a Valerian. That's all I'm saying. That's the canon now. That is the canon. Dan the Man says, woman, if you don't say his name right, the giant's name is 1-1. I can't remember. I ain't watched that in so long. S. Jaddick says, never gonna happen, but Tyreek Withers and Chase S. Jaddick says it's never gonna happen, but Tyreek Withers and Chase Infinity as Aegon and Visenya is amusing. Hey, I like Chase Infinity. As much as I did not enjoy One Battle After Another, she was great in that film for that to be her first movie. I like Tyreek Withers, man, but he's a little bit too skinny to be Aegon the Conqueror. Griff 106 says, so this is really happening. They've canceled so many Game of Thrones prequel projects that I don't think Aegon's conquest would ever happen. So right now where we are, Griff, it's still in development. They haven't like confirmed that they're like moving forward. This movie or this Aegon project has been in development for probably 4 or 5 years now. So we don't know. Dan the Man said, word, when was the Children of the Forest set? Let me see if I can pull up some pictures so you can see. So it was going to be a mix of Children of the Forest, Blood Moon, and also the White Walkers. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. Pull it up here. So if you go on Google and you type in what did I type in? Blood Moon, Game of Thrones. They had this thing cast, they filmed. It was rocking and rolling, and I'm assuming HBO didn't like it, so that's what happened with it. But yeah, there definitely was a Children of the Forest Blood Moon project in the works. They just did not proceed with it. They spent $80 million reportedly on that first episode, and HBO was like, nah, we don't really want to do this. So yeah, yep, it happened. All right, let's take the screen share out. As Jaddock said, way in the past when the Endalls came over, Stammer says Chase is too wholesome for that franchise. Hey, she's an actress. She's an actor. She can do it. Dan the Man says they were probably going to find a way to tie in the Night King theory where he takes over Bran's body. And I don't even want to see all that. I don't. All right. We're almost done, y'all. We're gonna jump over to Marvel. Now, DC, there wasn't a lot of DC news this week. I couldn't really find anything interesting to cover, so I don't have a lot of DC news. They've been a little quiet. So we're gonna jump over to Marvel. Yeah. Marvel. All right. So for y'all that don't know, back in 2020, Scarlett Johansson sued Disney because they tried to play in her face. They tried to play in her face. So let me tell y'all what happened. This was around the pandemic. Her movie Black Widow was supposed to release in theaters, and of course, a lot of people were staying inside. So Disney was like, "All right, we gonna release this movie in theaters, but we're also gonna release it on Disney Plus and charge people $20 to watch it at home." ScarJo said, "Whoa. That's not what we agreed to, because when they decided to charge people to watch it on Disney Plus, she wouldn't get a cut of that earning because her contract wasn't built around the movie being released on Disney Plus." And Disney told her, "Girl, forget you. You don't need no more money. We've already paid you $20 million throughout your career. You got enough from us. You don't need to get any more of the Disney Plus cut." They were mad disrespectful to her. So we later found out RDJ has earned almost $500 million playing Iron Man. $500 million. And they were scolding Scarlett Johansson, talking about, "We done gave you $20 million throughout your career." Crazy. Long story short, she sued Disney and she won $40 million, allegedly.
Allegedly. The lawyer lady up there in the booth is telling me to say allegedly.
You know what I'm saying? Can y'all believe they looked Scarlett Johansson in her face and said, "We done already gave you $20 million. That's enough." What?
Yeah. Man, hell no.
They did her wrong. So she recently did an interview with Screen Rant and talked about the lawsuit and said it was difficult for her to take on Disney alone, and she wished she had more vocal support from her peers and fans during that time, but she understood the situation. I'm glad ScarJo got paid, because Disney really tried it. Like, yeah, they really tried it. And she ain't the first person to sue Disney. Recently, of course, Bo DeMaio sued him. Gina Carano sued. She won. Victoria Alonso sued. She won. Scarlett Johansson sued. She won. Disney need to quit playing with people like they ain't got money. Okay? What, like, y'all, they played with Scarlett Johansson. And then y'all thought she was coming back for Doomsday after they played in her face? ScarJo, move on. Period.
Period.
Crazy. Let's check the comments. Dan the Man says, "Your girl Famke finna be in Doomsday after all." Yep, I'm gonna talk about that. Stamina says, "Who trapped out the Avengers theme?" This guy on YouTube. Dan the Man says, "What's the word on Damson Idris as T'Challa?" No, they didn't The magician says, yeah. ScarJo said, yeah, no. Period. Jadik says, ScarJo ain't ever coming back. RDJ should be pushing $1 billion, assuming Doomsday and Secret Wars are smashing. Oh, yeah. When it's all said and done, Robert Downey Jr. is probably going to clear. He was already at $500 million. They just gave him an extra $100 million. So he's at $600 million total. When it's all said and done, yeah, this man is going to have $700 to $800 million that he's won just from playing Iron Man and now Dr. Doom. Crazy. The magician says disrespectful. JD Informant says, fix that statement. RDJ gonna make $1 billion playing Iron Man and Dune. Dan the Man says, Disney finna do ScarJo dirty as hell. Guarantee her evil variant will be recast and you won't see her face. Now, keep in mind, it seems like she kind of mended fences a little bit with Disney because she was supposed to be in the Tangled movie, but we all know she left Tangled to go be in the Batman. Jadik says, not a shocker. Rumors were they were trying to short Chadwick Boseman. It wasn't that they were trying to short him. They did short him. They shorted him. Everybody got underpaid on that Black Panther set. And it's only because they didn't know what Black Panther was going to be. And between Chadwick Boseman and Ryan Coogler, they fought to make that whole team what it was. Not just the actors, also clothing design, sound design, production design. So yeah, everybody took pay cuts on that project. Everybody took pay cuts. I think it's going to be the same way with Children in Blood and Bone. That cast is stacked, and I know everybody isn't getting paid what they should be getting paid. Dan the Man says, no wonder she jumped ship to DC. For sure. All right, next up. Oh, let's go back. Stamina says, how RDJ doesn't feel bad making all that loot knowing his peers aren't is beyond me. People rationalize it. I mean, RDJ probably like, man, I started this whole universe. He deserves what he deserves, and he don't give a damn what nobody else ain't making. That ain't. He probably said that ain't got nothing to do with me. Jadik says RDJ opened his career by backstabbing Terrence Howard. Not a shocker. I mean, we can't really put that on RDJ backstabbing Terrence Howard. We got to put that on Marvel at the time. Marvel looked at Terrence Howard and was like, bruh, you can go. You just a black man. We can get any black man to play Rhodey. You getting too big for your britches. So that's kind of on the studio at the time. All right, next up. Brad Winderbaum, the big guy in charge at Marvel TV, was on the Marvel podcast, and he was talking about some of the upcoming TV projects. He stated that the story of VisionQuest is about fathers and sons. He said, and I quote, it's really about fathers and sons, specifically about 3 generations of grandfather, father, and son. Can a man who had an abusive father be a good father to himself? It gets very emotional at times. Are y'all excited for VisionQuest? You know what I'm saying? How do y'all feel? I am. I'm only excited about VisionQuest because I feel like this will complete the trilogy. The thing about me when it comes to viewing content, I like for the story to like run its course. Even if the story is bad, I just got to see it through the end. So I'm excited that VisionQuest is coming out to like complete this whole trilogy of WandaVision, Agatha, and VisionQuest. It's also being reported that all of the AIs and robots in VisionQuest will actually just be in human form. And when we're talking about 3 generations of men, I'm assuming he's talking about Ultron, Vision, and Speed. Vision especially, Vision essentially comes from Ultron, and then Vision has 2 sons, Wiccan and Speed. And when we left off with White Vision, that man was traumatized. White Vision was traumatized when he flew off. How is this man gonna be a daddy to Speed badass? And I'm assuming Wiccan is probably just going to show up towards the end, like out of the blue, You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm your son too, and this is my brother. Man, Vision gonna be all confused. Vision ain't gonna know what's going on. Vision gonna be like, where the hell all these kids come from?
Wow.
Vision ain't gonna know what's going on. My question is, where is the mama? Where is Wanda? Where is Wanda at? Where's the mama? And another thing that is common through this whole saga, the multiversal saga, should be called the grief and children saga. Yeah, because that's all we saw this whole saga. People experiencing extreme loss and kids just coming from every damn where. 90% of the content that we saw in this saga was about grief. Like, when you think about it, we opened up with Black Widow. She's dealing with grief because of, well, we can't say because of Endgame because it was a prequel, but she's dealing with the grief of having to go through the Red Room and do all those bad things to people. And then we meet her sister, Yelena Belova, and she's experiencing her own grief. So we start out with Black Widow, which is full of grief, WandaVision, full of grief, Shang-Chi, full of grief. Like this whole saga has been about grief and badass kids. So I'm interested in how White Vision is about to show up as a father. Are they going to make Ultron like this reformed good guy? And is he going to sit down with Vision and explain to him everything that's happened in the past to kind of bring him up to date with what's going on? And then is Vision about to try to be a daddy to Speed, Tommy? All of this is interesting. It's interesting. I'll be there watching. And the damn black woman is the villain of the show, DaCosta. Damn, we gotta be the villain. Let's check the comments. Collector's Reign says, them twinks having kids now. Dan the Man says, y'all think Terrence Howard care? Tina, pull up the 2 words Terrence had for Marvel when he was asked to come back. I'd never seen that Terrence Howard was asked to come back. I gotta check that out. JD Informant says, Vision, nah, we need to be excited about Wonderman. S. Jaddick says, Vision ain't ever been a character I give a hoot about in the MCU or the comics. Stamina says, more keen for VisionQuest than Wonderman. Torian says, good afternoon, Tina and Chad. What up, Torian? S. Jaddick says, as for Wonderman, the only cool thing about him is he bangs Wanda and he's best friends with Beast. We're getting neither. Plus, it's going to be meta. Yep. The Magician says, not too excited about VisionQuest, but I'm still interested somewhat. It may be entertaining at the least. Dan the Man says, I'm curious if they're going to adapt what they've been doing with Ultron in the recent comics and have him cooperate with Vision in the show and possibly Doomsday. Amen. Paul Bettany, who plays Vision, he did come out about a month ago and said, hey, this summer I have some avenging to doing. So it sounds like Vision is definitely going to be in Secret Wars. Torian says Wanda is still out here trying to find herself. Dan the Man says Wanda is getting that back blown out by Wonderman and Dr. Doom. No, I hope Wanda is not with Dr. Doom in Doomsday or Secret Wars. Jesus Christ. Noble Heart says Mama's is kicking it with Dr. Doom. The Magician says we want Mother. Give me Wanda. Yes, we want Wanda back. Stamina says the Wanda fumble will be studied in years to come. Yes, they mishandled Elizabeth Olsen so bad. Crazy. Dan the Man says, well, when half the world disappeared, you'd think there'd be some grief counseling for sure. Collector's Reign says Vision is dope. Actually, his solo run, Vision, won awards. Okay. Collector's Reign says, how is Doom gonna have sex in a metal suit? You never know with Dr. Doom. All right, since y'all have been talking about Wonderman, let's jump over to there. All right. So, once again, Brad Winderbaum, the head of Marvel TV, also spoke about Wonderman. Wonderman, of course, is being played by Yahya Mateen, and we're about 2 weeks away from this show premiering on TV. And most of the fandom has no idea what this show is about and why is this man, Trevor Slattery, like side by side with Wonderman. Why? Why is Trevor Slattery? Jesus Christ, let him go. This is what I tell people. This is what I tell y'all every week when I'm talking about these people do not follow the source material. They don't follow it. They don't care about it because Trevor Slattery is a made up character. And this made up character has now been in 3 properties for no reason. He's been in Iron Man 3, he's been in Shang-Chi, and now Wonder Man. Why? Why is Trevor Slattery here? Well, now we know why. Brad Winderbaum, the head of Marvel TV, said that people were already working on developing a Wonder Man show. Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi, loved Trevor Slattery so much in Shang-Chi, he wanted to do a spinoff TV show about Trevor Slattery. Why? I don't know. Why? So somebody at Marvel, Brad Winderbaum or Kevin Feige, somebody said, hey, Destin Daniel Cretton, how about you lead the Wonder Man TV show and you can also just put Trevor Slattery in there and let him be a damn sidekick to Yahya Mateen. Why couldn't they just give Trevor Slattery a little short? If Destin Daniel Cretton loved Trevor Slattery so much, why y'all couldn't just give him like a little TV special or a little short? Like, don't is people checking for Trevor Slattery? Like, is he that hot of a commodity that Destin Daniel Cretton was sitting on the production lot of Shang-Chi and instead of him focusing on Shang-Chi, he's like, I really want to make a Trevor Slattery project. What the hell? Trevor Slattery got to have some type of voodoo on the people at Marvel because what is the fascination with him? And the whole marketing around Wonder Man has focused a lot on Trevor Slattery, and it's just not needed, man. I don't think the average person is interested in this TV show because as great as Yahya Mateen is, the TV show just doesn't look super appealing to the average audience. Now, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch it. I like that they're trying to tell a story about the entertainment business and how hard it is for actors to get jobs and to work. I'm just going to watch this like a regular TV show and not a Marvel show. I'm going in to watch this just like it's a regular TV show. That's how I'm going to do it. Are y'all going to check out Wonder Man? And do y'all think it's a good idea to have Trevor Slattery matched up with Wonder Man, Yahya Mateen, side by side, this buddy cop thing? Do y'all think it's working? Do y'all think we need this comic relief of Trevor Slattery? Y'all let me know. Maybe I'm just being too hard on Trevor. Maybe people do like Trevor. Let's check the comments. Noble Heart says, not gonna lie, I'm happy to see Trevor every time. See, and this is why I love talking about like people having different outlooks on life. We have Noble Heart here who loves Trevor. And I done drug Trevor for about 30 minutes now. And you have somebody here who's like, I actually like Trevor Slattery. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Collector's Reign says, stuck him with the black guy. Yep. Six the Truth says, Trevor is the ultimate finesse. Dan the Man says, man, let me tell you something. I lead the charge against Iron Man 3 with that BS they pulled with Trevor. Now, he won me over probably because they did give me the real Mandarin. I don't dislike Trevor. Like, I like Trevor and Shang-Chi as comic relief. Like, he was cool. But, like, I don't need to see a lot more of Trevor Slattery. Okay? I don't need to see a lot more. Collector's Reign says this is likely a one and done show anyway. I don't know if Yahya Mateen makes it post Secret Wars. I think he's going to be in Secret Wars. And I think he's going to make it post Secret Wars. I think so. Six of Truth says, don't forget his All Hail the King one shot. Trevor Slattery will return in Avengers Doomsday. Oh. The magician says Wonderman just doesn't seem to capture my attention. I don't think I'll tune in. Okay. Dan the Man says I kind of dig the meta thing they're doing with Yaya playing an actor, looking at the real Simon Williams for inspiration in the show. Makes me think they have a twist like, is he really Blue Marvel? No, he ain't Blue Marvel. I wish he was Blue Marvel. He'd have been a great Blue Marvel. Can you imagine him and Tiana Parrish, who plays Monica Rambeau, together in a relationship? Yes, he would have been a great Blue Marvel. But yeah, they ain't want to do that. Noble Heart says Trevor is best in small doses. The Magician says, yes, minimum Trevor, please. Six of Truth says, definitely not a one and done. West Coast Avengers is coming. That's why we don't know anything about the show. Collector's Reign says, then there will have to be a Simon Williams and Vision crossover movie or show. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because Paul Bettany, if y'all think about it, Paul Bettany, the actor who plays Vision, he's been there for a long time, like even doing like voice work. I think some of these people that are very expensive, Marvel is trying to kind of push them out. That's why we had this whole new school of actors coming in so they could push out RDJ, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Evans. They were just getting too expensive. I don't know how much longer we're going to have with Paul Bettany, but we'll see. We'll see. Jay the Informant says, abundance of Wonderman haters in here. It's going to be a success. I don't hate Wonderman. I hate the idea of Yahya Mateen not really having like his own show focused on him. And I know this show is going to be focused on him. I don't like Trevor Slattery like attached to him. And I feel like the people who are looking at data analytics, something is probably telling them that, and I hate to say this, y'all. I hate to say this. Something is telling them that they feel like when we have these shows and projects with black men and probably black women too, of course, it doesn't attract a large scale audience. So we need to have them paired with somebody else to bring that extra crowd in. Whereas when you look at something like Black Panther, who's blackety black, people still watch it. So I honestly feel like Disney and Marvel is scared to let black men or black people just have their own projects. They don't think it's going to attract a mass audience. Hence, where the hell is Blade? Hence, they got rid of Kang when they could have just recast him. Hence, they got rid of Patriot when they could have just recast him. Where the hell is Armor Wars? Look what they did to Secret Invasion. So I do feel like Disney may feel not 100% comfortable with giving black people their own projects and allowing them to just lead these projects by themselves. I would have loved I still am going to watch Wonder Man for sure, but I would have loved if we just could have focused on Yahya Mateen. He doesn't need Trevor Slattery attached at his hip. That's all I'm saying. That's it. All right, Stamina says, the thing for me a lot of with MCU comic relief is that it ages badly. Repeat viewing. Yeah, it ages badly. Dan the Man says his brother is Grim Reaper, a good villain. Yeah, I wish we would see more of the brother. Like they're just starting to show his brother. Jay the Informant says, also, online therapy is available for the Wonderman hater. I'll be there. Six of Truth says Vision isn't going anywhere either. He's a West Coast Avenger. We'll see. Torian says they back on that kick again. That's an age-old cinema trope. Six of Truth says I'm looking forward to Wonder Man. It'll be better than Secret Invasion, Daredevil, Echo, Ironheart. Okay, I can respect your opinion. Torian says it seems to be a Marvel problem. DC is in the same boat too. Collector's Reign says that's probably their excuse for Blade. Yep. Stamina says the bar is lower than a snake's belly. Dan the Man says, don't feed me that anti-black nonsense. Blade was in What If. Simon Williams is not a black character. Ironheart surprised the heck out of me. Tiana's Miss Marvel is the one that is stuck with X-Men. I don't want to say that Marvel and Disney is totally like anti-black. It's just a business. It's a business, and I think that they are not 100% confident with just letting black people lead their stuff, man. That's just it. I don't think it has. I think when they're looking at statistics and stats, they're saying this doesn't work, because if you think about it, like I said, they thought that Black Panther was going to be on the same level as Guardians of the Galaxy, because based off of statistics, they say, hey, black people don't buy toys. Black people don't really buy a lot of comic books. Black people don't really like go to the movies a lot. They're looking at analytics that's showing them this thing, which allows them to make these decisions, right? Black Panther completely overperformed, blew it out of the water. Black Panther is the highest grossing solo comic book movie of all time. All time as an intro. It blows everything out of the water, and it's because when Black Panther came out, kind of like Sinners, they were tracking it a little low. We showed out in big mass. We showed out in big mass for Black Panther. Okay. S. Jaddick says Blade was proven though. As for Armor Wars, they chose Riri over Rhodey. Collector's Reign says yes, economically, black people are the largest spenders. We are. But when you look at what we're spending our money on, it ain't the damn movies. It's not. We're spending it on, the items that we need in every day. Food, toilet paper, tissue, stuff to take care of the house, clothes. We not really, like, look around you. Like, are you really around a lot of people who's like, I'm gonna get up and go to the movies? And you can just look at the demographics of movie going. Like, when these movies come out, you can see the percentage of each demographic that's, attending these movies. And let's also keep it honest. We don't have a large like population in the United States. So it's just the business, man. It's the business. Collector's Reign says, I don't know. They just have to make stuff for black people. I don't know if I fully embrace that narrative. Okay. I mean, just look around you. Like, really look around you. There's not a lot of, y'all talk about it. Well, people talk about it all the time. There's not a lot of like, look at last year. How many like black movies came out in the theater? If you really think about it. Sinners. I think Keke Palmer had a movie. What else? What else? And it's not because we don't have stories to tell or we're not creative enough to get there. These studios just don't believe in putting money behind black content creators like that to put stuff out in the movies. So that's just what it is, man. That's just the facts. That's the facts. Like, there's not even like, somebody was talking the other day about Nia DaCosta and how Nia DaCosta is, she's doing good with this new movie. Hopefully I can go see it tonight. And somebody was like, can you name 5 black women directors within like the past 10 years? And it's not a lot. It's just not a lot. So, all right, let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. Look, I done brought Nia DaCosta up, ran right into the next thing. Now, I can't remember which scooper it was, but somebody was saying that Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel was not in Doomsday. And I was like, Nia DaCosta literally said a few months ago that she was flown out to the Doomsday set. Like, one of the scoopers was like, yeah, they're not in the movie. Monica Rambeau, Miss Marvel, and Captain Marvel, they're not in the movie, but they're going to add them in April and May in reshoots. And I'm like, why would they not be in the movie if Nia DaCosta said she flew to set? She obviously was flown to set to give her input on that whole scene with Monica and Beast and to give her input. So whatever scooper said that was just like, it never made sense. So Nia DaCosta, the director of the Marvels, has been doing more interviews lately because, like I said, her new movie 28 days later or 28 years later. Let me not disrespect Nia. Let me see what's the name of the movie, y'all. Hold on. I don't want to disrespect Nia, girl. Let me look it up. All right. So her movie 28 years later, The Bone Temple, is out, and she's been doing a lot of press. And, people have brought up questions about, her time at Marvel. And she reiterated once again, hey, I was just visiting the Avengers set last summer, and it was really, really fun. Some of my friends were in that movie. Now, I know we're all thinking, when she says some of her friends were in the movie, we're thinking of the trio, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, as well as Monica Rambeau. But she's also friends with Yahya Mateen. Could Wonderman be making an appearance in Doomsday or Secret Wars? Who knows? She also just did a movie with Tessa Thompson, aka Valkyrie. She could be talking about her. But I'm glad that we at least know there's a good chance we may be seeing the Marvels again. It's like common sense. If the X-Men are in this movie, Monica Rambeau is in the X-Men universe. Duh, she's in the film. Now that damn Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, I don't know. I don't know about her. I don't know. Because Carol Danvers kind of shows up when she want to show up. She just show up when she want to show up. But it would make sense that Carol Danvers calls upon some of her friends to try and go and help rescue Monica Rambeau. So it was good that Nia DaCosta kind of gave us an update, letting us know that we most likely will be seeing Monica or Carol or possibly Miss Marvel or Wonderman or Valkyrie in this movie, because Nia DaCosta has worked with quite a few people, in the Marvel family. So let's check the comments. Eshadic says, oh, that was neurotic. The Kingdom of the Fandom Menace. I think the Marvels will be in the movie. I doubt they'll do much. Eshadic says, can anyone name 5 or 10 white women directors throughout the past year? I know quite a bit of white women directors. Now, if they're making movies in the big box office, that might be a little bit of slim pickings, but yeah, I know quite a bit. Yeah. All right. We don't have much else to say about Nia DaCosta, so let's move on. Famke and Halle Berry. All right, let's talk about it. So, Chris Claremont, famous X-Men comic writer, he was on a podcast here recently and dropped some tidbits saying that all of the X-Men are returning for Doomsday. Now, if we recall, when Marvel did the Big Chair Watch, some people were missing. Famke, who plays Jean Grey, was not there. Halle Berry Storm was not there. Anna Paquin's Rogue wasn't there. So a lot of people was like, the women is missing. Where are the heavy hitters? We like, where the hell is Jean Grey and Storm? What is going on? Now, Anna Paquin, who plays Rogue, I think she's going through some health issues, so it would make sense for her not to show up. Now, Halle Berry has been laid up in Bali with her man, not worried about Marvel. Okay, I think she feels like she was done dirty in the past, and I would not be surprised if Marvel initially tried to lowball her and not pay her. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. So I imagine at the beginning she was not playing ball. Now, Famke, the great Famke, Jean Grey, I told y'all before everybody else told y'all that I talked to Famke myself in person last March, and she told me that she was not in it. She was so confused when the rumor started that she was in Deadpool and Wolverine, because she said Marvel has not called her for nothing in years. She was never reached out to for Deadpool. She said nobody has called her for Doomsday either, and I believe her. And y'all remember all them Deadpool rumors? They was like Jean Grey was gonna be fighting Wanda, and hey man, it was all lies. It was all lies. Now I will give the scoopers a little bit of slack because maybe there was some concept art going around that this was something that they wanted to do, but per Famke, ain't nobody called her from Marvel in years. Okay, so she don't know where them rumors came from that she was fighting the Scarlet Witch. She said for Doomsday nobody called her, and since they ain't called me, I ain't really interested in doing no cameo. Now, what I believe is going on right now, which is the same thing that's possibly going on with Damson Idris, Elizabeth Olsen, Halle Berry, Famke. I believe it's a new year. The Disney budget is open. I think there may be some negotiations going on. And I say this every video. This movie is going to be filled with fan service, spectacle, bombs, explosions, everything. I think the Russos and Kevin Feige want to try and make every single fan base happy. So I believe there may be some deals in the works. Now, what's interesting about Famke and Halle Berry is if you're bringing these people in for possible reshoots, I know they're also not calling back in like the actors who played Magneto and Professor X because them men is old. These men are old. So I hope some of these scenes don't look weird if you're going to be randomly adding in Storm and Jean Grey, or are there just going to be additional scenes with maybe Beast, Cyclops, Mystique, and some of the other X-Men? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Man, listen. The budget for this movie has to be $400 million.
I like more than check.
Like, how do you pay for all these people? This is insane. This has to be one of the most expensive movies of all time because if they really, really fill this cast out, like, that's crazy. The sheer amount of salaries on the balance sheet has to be outrageous. You already given RDJ $50 million per movie, right? This movie has to probably at least make $1.5 billion. And that's on the low end. This budget has to be out of control. It just has to be crazy. It just has to be crazy. All right, let's check the comments. We're almost done, y'all. We only got about 2 more topics. We're going to talk about Doomsday, and then we're going to get up out of here. Let's check the comments. Dan the Man says the Phoenix lives. S. Jaddick says, who is leaking Chris Claremont? Man doesn't give a F. I don't think Anna Paquin is coming as Rogue because she's sick. Dan the Man says, y'all were tripping if you thought the original X-Men weren't going to show up in this film when everyone is supposed to be back. Plus, we know this is an X-Men Utopia universe. I don't know, Dan the Man. When I saw Magneto in that trailer, Magneto did not look like he was in no Utopia. Magneto looked like his hair was slicked over. He looked old in the face. He ain't looked like he was in no Utopia from what I saw. I don't know. Six of Truth says Famke is done. Sadie is Jean now. They need to accept it like they need to accept Toussaint. Oh, aka T ain't. Jean Grey versus Wanda Maximoff is going to be toxic online if it happens. I don't think it's happening. S. Jaddick says they're about to do some reshoots, so I assume they are taking in fan feedback. People want Jean, Storm, and T'Challa. They will try to execute that, of course. Andre Ware says, I'm back. S. Jaddick says, of course, the biggest problem for T'Challa continues to be Ryan Coogler. Nerf the king. Shuri stole his genius and then killed him in honor of Chadwick. I respect that, S. Jaddick. Shuri said, I lost everything. What happened to your nephew? Simple. Doom obliterates the little bastard and Shuri found her brother via the multiverse. That's who she's looking at in the trailer. Could be. We'll see. Andre Ware says it will more than make the money back from box office and merchandise. Look, merchandise for sure. It's gonna make bread. Between t-shirts, toys, it's gonna make bread. I'm concerned with the box office. That's what I'm concerned with. Stamina says they can make the composite look good these days. That Illuminati scene in Multiverse of Madness 2 was awkwardly structured, but it didn't look flagrantly cut and paste. They need not all be on screen at once anymore. I agree. Technology's getting better. Dan the Man said, you heard the rumor 5 acts for Doomsday. I did, but I'm not really giving it a lot of credence. Dan the Man says, what's up with the rumor plot leaks for Brand New Day? I might do a separate video about that because I don't have this included in the live because I didn't really believe that plot leak, but I might do a video for it. S. Jaddick says, I don't even think Doomsday needs to make money. It just has to set up Secret Wars to make bank and hit a high enough box office that it can spin this as a win, which is about 1.4 to 1.6 billion. I agree. Stamina says, spare me, please, Dan. Andre Ware says, Magneto looks like he's 217 years old. I'm going to keep raising the age. They got Magneto looking broke and broken. Let me see if I can find my Ayanla broken.
Life left me broke and feeling broken.
They got Magneto looking bad. And all the rumors was Magneto is in this mutant utopia and he's living like a king and life. Hey, Magneto don't look like he been in no fight. He just look like a old man who just tired. He don't look like he in no utopia. Dan the Man says Russo's lie all the time in their trailers. Not for that T'Challa trailer though. He's coming back. Don't be fooled. Okay. S. Jaddick says yes. Charles and Eric ain't looking like they in no utopia. Hold on. Collector's Reign says the Russos can fix it. Dan the Man said y'all ain't right. Six of Truth says Magneto looked like he been holding I need a sign. Hold on, let me stop laughing just for people who are listening for audio. Six of Truth says Magneto looked like he been holding I need a beer sign. They had my boy Magneto looking rough. Professor X looked younger than Magneto. Like Professor X, his little outfit was suited and booted up, nice little shaven bald hair, rolling in the chair. Professor X looked good. Magneto looked like life had hit him. Stamina says as much as Marvel needs a return on their investment, brand repair is worth more. They need goodwill for the audience to return for future movies. Otherwise, it's really all over for them. This is about money, Stamina. This is not about brand repair because what they're essentially doing with Doomsday and Secret Wars is exactly what they did with Infinity War and Endgame. They're about to have all this big spectacle, and when it's all over, that doesn't necessarily mean that the audiences that showed up for these two big movies are going to translate over to the new content that they're doing. So they have to do a good job of setting up Shang-Chi. If T'Challa is back in this, in these movies, who else is going to be a new person carrying over into the future? The Fantastic Four. They have to do a good job in these movies making the general audience members fall in love with the people who are going to live after Secret Wars. Because the problem is with Endgame, when Endgame ended, Steve was gone, Black Widow was gone, and Iron Man was gone. They didn't do a really good job of telling people, hey, we're about to go into the multiverse saga. This is going to be brand new. We're about to introduce a lot of new characters. Hopefully y'all show up for the ride. They didn't do a good job of translating the people over, and I fear it's going to be the same thing after Secret Wars. If they don't nail Secret Wars in a way that sets up the future, they're going to be back in the same scenario. And not to mention, when they do the XMen, it's going to be young. So this is about box office, baby. This is not about brand repair. This is not about setting up the future too much, because if it was about brand repair, you don't need to bring all these old damn people back who you just finna get rid of again. Like, why you bringing RDJ? He's not gonna be the Doom in the new universe. Because have y'all seen Robert Downey Jr. lately? Robert Downey Jr. He doesn't look bad, but you can tell his age is kind of weighing on him. Like, Robert Downey Jr. looks like he's 60 years old versus when you can look at somebody like, how old is Angela Bassett? Let's see. Angela Bassett age. Angela Bassett is almost 70 years old. When you put Angela Bassett at almost 70 and a RDJ at 60, they just look different. Like, RDJ looks and moves like he's 60 years old, like, and like an older 60. I cannot see him sticking around afterwards. Like, nah, man. So let's take a look at the comments. Stamina says, Six of Truth says Magneto was fresh off a bender. The Magician says, I really wish they would have gave the OG cast a proper send-off and just move on. This feels like a mess. Okay. We'll see if they can pull it off, Magician. S. Jaddick says, I almost wonder if the X-Men world is about to die, so Charles and Eric are just playing one last chess match before their world gets erased in an incursion. That's a possibility. Andre Ware says, at the end of Secret Wars, all the Fox X-Men will be dead, and hopefully that includes Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I agree. Let's let Hugh go. The question isn't, are you prepared to die? It is, do you want to be when you close your eyes? Mag's final script. Six of Truth says Spider-Man is making $2 billion. Doomsday, $2 billion, both at minimum. I don't know. Avatar ain't even making $2 billion. That's gonna be tough. S. Jaddick says, in my opinion, all these Thunderbolts and Sam's Avengers are dooms, new character-wise. F4 are the only ones worth investing in besides a new T'Challa. And if Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. S. Jaddick says Shang should take his talents to the Midnight Suns, because the fact Steve is back says these new Avengers are bombs. Cannot carry into Secret Wars. Stamina says, I think two things can be true at once. At least hope so. For sure. Collector's Reign says, if Damson ain't T'Challa, then I'll stick to it in other forms of Marvel outside the MCU. Okay. S. Jaddick says they killed T'Challa. Something with Wanda and Strange made Thor a joke. 2022 basically killed the future of the MCU. S. Jaddick says, nah, Jack will stick around as Old Man Logan for sure. Get rid of him. Dan the Man says, she butchered the whole phrase. Y'all go watch the teaser. Damn, Tina. I need my glasses on. I could barely read. All right. Let's see. Next topic. All right. Next up, RDJ and Timothée Chalamet were having a sit down, and they both have movies releasing on the same day. RDJ is in Avengers Doomsday, and Timothy is in Dune. RDJ has officially announced that this is going to be called DunesDay. Let's take a look at the clip.
I'm officially kicking off my Avengers fucking Doomsday pre-press. And I just want to let it be known that we decided, because, well, you want to hit him with it, he's got the right name, but we both have films opening on December 18th, and we've decided to coin it. You go for it. We're thinking DunesDay. You like it? All right. We'll see if we're still friends by then.
All right. So they're trying to make it Doomsday. BarbenHeimer was an organic phenomenon created by people on social media. So with RDJ trying to coin Doomsday in the same vein as Barbenheimer is not the same. And the reason Barbenheimer worked was because it was two completely different demographics of people going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day. Now, what was happening was Oppenheimer was being touted as this great film, Oscar contender, artsy film, and Barbie, being led by Margot Robbie, was this lighthearted, fun popcorn film for young girls and adult women who love Barbie since forever. And they made this a thing. Like, social media made it a thing. Like, Barbie is gonna drop the bomb on Oppenheimer. Okay, it became really friendly competition of the Barbie fans essentially like picking on Oppenheimer. So it became a battle of the box office. So a lot of people like turned it into a double feature because Barbie started to get good reviews. So did Oppenheimer. So people were like, okay, I'm going to go watch both of these films either in the same day or on the same weekend. And it became a phenomenon called Barbenheimer. It was natural. You know what I'm saying? Nobody like from these studios named it. It was a natural creation from social media. Avengers Doomsday and Dune have somewhat of an overlap of audience, so it's just not the same. If I was Dune, I would get out of the way of Avengers Doomsday. I would move. It only helps to move. It does nothing by staying there. Standing your ground against Avengers Doomsday, it doesn't make you noble. It doesn't make you honorable. It makes you foolish. Move somewhere else where you can own that weekend. All the press is about you. All the box office goes to you. Trying to run up against this movie is crazy. I think it's crazy. But I kind of understand Dune because Dune is like, we was here first. We had this date first. We got these IMAX theaters first. Doomsday moved to our date. So I ain't moving. I do understand that with Dune. But from a business point of view, I would move, bro. Dune needs to get the hell away from Doomsday. Leave, man. I'm trying to tell you. Leave. It does not make you noble standing your ground. It just doesn't. Because movies cost too much nowadays. If I got a family of 4 and our tickets here to go see like a Dolby film is $25 a person, that's $100 right there. If I'm a family of 4, by the time I buy popcorn, candy, blah, 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 we at $150, $170. If I got to pick between going to see Avengers Doomsday or Dune, I'm going to see Avengers Doomsday. I think most families are going to think that way because they want to take their kids to go watch something that's fun and explosions and bombs and all of that. Dune needs to move. It needs to get out the way. Let's check the comments. Dan the Man says Doomsday. S. Jaddock says, I don't want Jackman around, but I don't think Kevin Feige is moving on, sadly. Collector's Reign said, look at RDJ with the fits on. Six the Truth says, yeah, Tina, you definitely need to come back and talk about the Spider-Man plot leak. I'm more hyped for that than seeing the old X-Men get slaughtered by a fake Tony Fake Doom. Somebody, if y'all are on Twitter or Instagram, somebody send me like an article with the plot leak and I'll do a video about it. Y'all send me the information. S. Jaddock, because there's so many plot leaks, so I don't know which plot leak y'all talking about. So if you're on Twitter or Instagram, y'all see my social medias, y'all find me, so y'all send me the plot leak and I'll do a video about it later on and try to have it up tomorrow. S. Jaddock says Doomsday is silly. The core demo for both movies overlap too much. Also, who's getting these IMAX screens? Dune is getting the IMAX screens. They had it booked first. Stamina says the Doomsday experiment could be interesting if they're both in on it from the beginning. Barbenheimer was organic, but a more calculated strategy from the studios will be cool. Yeah, I think that'll be cool if they can do it. Six of Truth says Spider-Man will definitely gross more. The Magician says he's corny as fuck. My God, get this man off my screen. S. Jaddock says, I think Spidey is far more likely to be the better movie, far less balls and characters to juggle. So yeah, I'm inclined to think it makes more. Six the Truth says Dune is about to get annihilated if they don't move. Old Timmy is about to get humble. Timmy already look humble. Timmy young. He done grew up off these Avengers movie. He probably know we need to get the hell out the way. Collector's Reign says not watching the Twink Timothy movie. Haven't watched one Dune movie at all. Six the Truth says Dune, you in danger, girl. Johnny Rastafari says fans have been calling it Doomsday before the studios did, though. I think the term been kind of organic for this too. You're right, Johnny Rastafari. When Doomsday was announced and Doomsday moved over to the same date as Dune, the fans did start coining it as Doomsday. Problem is, they only started coining it as Doomsday because they were trying to be like Barbenheimer, whereas Barbenheimer was just its own organic thing. So even the fans are kind of like biting off Barbenheimer, like, hey, let's do it. But it's not sticking the same. Maybe as we get closer to the release date, it'll start generating that same hype if Dune doesn't move. But yeah, for sure. JD Informant says, I saw Dune 1 and 2. JD Informant says, I saw Dune 1 and forgot 2 was out. I have to watch it one day. Six of Truth says Marvel is flexing BDE on Doom. John and Rastafari says thousands of people watching the Doomsday clock stream on YouTube. The marketing for Doomsday has been god tier. Doom better get on. I think they just riding Marvel coattails for the marketing. They need to move, man. Collector's Reign said, not fit, lifts. RDJ wears lifts to appear taller than what he is. Torian says, Tina, are you going to talk about the first look of Sophie Turner as Lara Croft? I seen it. I didn't include it in this live stream because, to be honest, I don't really know a lot about Tomb Raider, so I didn't want to give my opinion on it. I try not to talk about stuff I don't know a lot about because I don't want to upset people. Stamina says, if it's coordinated properly, the theaters will join in too and sell proper double feature tickets at a nice price to encourage more people, more ticks, and more snacks, hopefully. Yep. Collector's Reign says Spider-Man is not making more than Doomsday. Y'all are dumb. Damn. Torian says, let's be real. The movie to watch this year is the Michael Jackson biopic. Yeah, man. That Michael Jackson movie is going to be huge, and they are smart for releasing it early on in April. It may cost them like some Oscar nominations, but if they're just going to like, hey, we ain't worried about Oscars, we're just trying to tell the story and make money, I think they have a good release date. O-Dog Gaming says Doomsday got it, but that's coming from someone who couldn't finish the first Doom. Collector's Reign says Spider-Man centers basically Spider-Man through its other characters. Doomsday is basically combining every Marvel movie, not just MCU, into 2 movies starting with Doomsday. Collector's Reign says, so Doomsday is definitely making more money than Spider-Man. O-Dog says, thank you, Stamina. So Spider-Man right now is essentially going through a restart. I mean, we got a new director coming in, which I think he's going to do great. But you're dealing with a Peter Parker who is grown a lot. The people that surround him don't have a memory of him. I don't think Spider-Man is making more than Doomsday. That's just me. I think Spider-Man may be the better movie because I do like Destin Daniel Cretton. But yeah, I don't think Spider-Man is making more than Doomsday, but we shall see. We shall see. All right, 2 more topics with Marvel, and then we up out of here, y'all. Let's move on. All right, speaking of victory laps, the good folks at Marvel released an article and said, hey, man, between all of these trailers, we've hit over $1 billion. Well, I'm sorry. We've hit over 1 billion views on social media, which is massive. Now, I created this chart here. If y'all can see, so we can see where all of the trailers land on each social media platform. I looked at this like late last night, so the numbers are as of last night. So the Steve Rogers trailer has 240 million like grand total views between 5 of the, most common social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Right now, the Steve Rogers trailer, of course, is the biggest because it's the first. It's also been out the longest. So Steve Rogers has 240 million views. Thor is in second place with 106 million views. X-Men is right behind Thor with 104 million views. And last place is the Wakanda trailer with 73 million views. Now, we got to keep in mind the Wakanda Fantastic Four trailer has only been out about 4 days. And 73 million views compared to Thor's 104. It might catch it a little bit. Now, when we're analyzing these stats, there's a lot of different variables. For example, Instagram and TikTok lean more so African American. So the Wakanda trailer is beating X-Men on TikTok by a long shot. Like on TikTok, the Wakanda Doomsday trailer is almost at 10 million views in 4 days. So it's beating the X-Men trailer right now. And it looks like on TikTok, the Black Panther trailer is probably going to end up beating Thor too, so it may fall in last place. Now, when you look on Facebook, the Wakanda trailer is about to beat the Thor trailer, and it may pass the X-Men trailer as well. So I think we're going to check these stats in about 2 weeks to kind of see how everything falls in place, because it seems like TikTok is younger and they don't care about the X-Men trailer. The kids on TikTok probably don't even know who them old folks is, because on TikTok, the X-Men trailer only has 3 million views. Them kids on TikTok don't know nothing about Charles Xavier, Cyclops, and Magneto, because it's crazy that the X-Men trailer only has 3 million views on TikTok. And then the Wakanda trailer has 9.8 million and Thor has 11. So this is why when you're talking about stats, you really got to keep the demographics in place to kind of understand how things work. It's kind of hard to just make a blanket statement. But I think it's interesting to kind of see where all these trailers are falling on social media platforms. But we're going to check back in about 2 weeks to kind of see where everything kind of lands out. But of course, I mean, the Steve Rogers trailer was the first one. It's killing all the other trailers at the moment. Now, when you look on YouTube, the Steve Rogers trailer, Thor, and X-Men are back to back. It only has 18 million views on YouTube. Thor is right behind it with 17 million, and then the X-Men at 15. But yeah, man, we're going to check these stats in about 2 weeks to see where they fall. Let's check the comments. S. Jaddick says TikTok is younger skewing, so it makes sense that the lack of Foxmen, X-Men nostalgia. Yeah, that was interesting, man, to see like how TikTok leans towards that X-Men trailer. Like, it didn't do a lot over there at all. And then when you compare it to the Black Panther or the Wakanda trailer, 9 million views. Crazy in a couple days. Thor is at 11 million views on TikTok, and it's been out for 3 weeks now. So I think it's kind of obvious, if you're gonna, market towards a younger demographic and probably African Americans, TikTok is where it's at. So that's interesting. Six the Truth says $1 billion on some fake out teasers, yet people claim that there's fatigue and Marvel has fallen off. Make it make sense. You be telling them, but they don't listen all the time. The Magician says, hope those views translate into American dollars.
I like more than check.
Stamina says trailers cost nothing. 6 paying with time coming up off the wallet. It do cost to make trailers now. Let's don't hey, it costs to make trailers. But to be fair, I don't think these are trailers. If y'all go back to my videos I did a while ago, I always said, I'm like, I just can't see them releasing trailers. And it's obvious. These just look like clips from the movie. Or maybe they're not going to be a movie. It could just be clips that they shot separately. But I just always felt like they were not going to do real trailers. Like, I have a video stating that. Y'all can look at it. I'm like, bro, I don't think we finna get trailers. And sure enough, all we got were clips that were either cut out of the movie or filmed separately. So hopefully we'll see a trailer at Super Bowl. S. Jaddick says, I think it's telling they felt the Wakanda trailer needed the Fantastic Four since we already knew they were back. I don't know. I can't really speak on why they felt like they needed to include the Fantastic Four. Not sure. I can't speak on that. Lawrence said, someone told me the MCU was dead, but these numbers say something else. Stamina says, now to make people watch, audience can watch things given to them for free, but are they gonna buy what's being sold? So Stamina, are you in the group of people who don't feel like people are gonna go out and watch this movie? Is that where you're kind of leaning? You don't think people gonna show up? As Shattuck says, I mean, hard to tell how much of this matters given the prevalence of bots. For sure. For sure. You just never know nowadays. All right. Last topic, y'all. And then I'm going to let y'all go to enjoy y'all Saturday. If y'all are on the replay gang, thanks for checking out with me. And for all y'all that like this stuff, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll try to be here almost every Saturday about 3:00. But we're going to get into our last topic, and we're going to be talking about the good brother, Damson. Damson. Damson, you're never beating the allegations. You are never gonna beat the Black Panther allegations, Damson. So Damson Idris just did an article, and he was speaking about his driving experience on his movie that came out last year, F1. He was talking about how he had to really learn how to drive those cars. There was no stunt doubles. He was in there driving them cars. Then he just randomly mentioned, hey, y'all also know in my new movie coming out, Children of Blood and Bones, I also rode a panther. Sir, when this movie comes out, Children of Blood and Bone, if he's not in Doomsday, he's never beating the Black Panther allegation. Because why are you riding a Black Panther in Children of Blood and Bone? Why is he riding? Why is Damson Idris riding a Black Panther in Children of Blood and Bone? I read the books. Don't nobody ride. He don't ride no Black Panther in the books. Why are you riding a Black Panther?
What? Yeah. Man, look at
Now in the books, like I said, he don't ride no panther from what I remember. So in the movie, obviously they're making some changes. Because in the movie, he plays a young prince. His dad is Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Damson's character is pretty much a prince grappling with taking on a lot of responsibility as being heir to the throne. He's having to deal with his father forcing a lot of his own ideologies on him. He's dealing with, am I following my father's orders because it's just the right thing to do? Or do my politics not align with how my dad thinks? Now, like I said, in the books, he don't ride no panther. So they're obviously making changes. And in this movie, he's going to be riding on a panther for travel. I don't know why. And since he's also going to be a prince in this movie, I can just see how social media is going to do all the marketing for him to be in the Black Panther franchise. Oh, when Children of Blood and Bone comes out and you see Damson Idris as Prince Anon, if he's not in Doomsday, because Doomsday comes out in December, Children of Blood and Bone comes out in January. If he's not in Doomsday, when he shows up in Children of Blood and Bone as a young prince, man, and when he goes on his press run, he's gonna have to deal with Black Panther questions. Oh man, he's gonna have a tough press run for Children of Blood and Bone, and people asking him about Black Panther. Social media is gonna do all the marketing for him. He ain't even gonna have to market or sell himself to be in Secret Wars if he's not in it, because when he pops up in this movie, but yeah, man, Children of Blood and Bone is coming out next January. I'm super excited for this movie. I've been trying to figure out what the budget is for Children of Blood and Bone, because I want to see like how epic it's gonna be, or I want to see if they kind of shortchanged everybody. But I'm super excited to see this movie, and we don't know where Damson stands when it comes to him being T'Challa, T'Chaka, or Tucson. We don't know. We don't know if the man is in the movie. But we're gonna play the waiting game and see. Let's check out the comments. Let's see. Stamina says, I'm open-minded about audience reception. I think too much fuss is being made of hype for a movie 11 months out. I think, however excited people are, excitement will start fading before December 16th. Stamina says, at that point, they'll need something else. Therefore, hype now seems like a waste of energy, attention to me, but I ain't... Six the Truth says he's going to keep talking and fully slip up, and then Feige is going to replace him with Steven Yeun. Oh, man. Collector's Reign says, nope. JD Informant says, Melvin Gregg back as Panther. Coming soon. Absolutely not, Jay. Collector's Reign says, have faith. Speak it as if he's T'Challa, son of T'Chaka. Old Dog Gaming says, can't hold water because ain't no way he riding the Panther. That's what he said. That's what he said in the interview. He said, in Children of Blood and Bone, he gonna be riding a Black Panther. That's what Damson said. All right, y'all. Once again, what time is it? 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. If y'all need to go to the movies, we're ending this in enough time for y'all to get y'all stuff done. If you are watching this on the replay and you're not subscribed, make sure you follow me. I appreciate all the support. If y'all want to leave some additional comments and you're on the replay, I appreciate that. For all the people who's rock with me, Stamina, The Magician, Six the Truth, Old Dog, Jay, Collector's Reign, S-Jadix, of course, S-Jadix. S-Jadix shows up every week to get up under my skin and to aggravate me, but I appreciate him. Collector's Reign, Torian, I'm just trying to, Johnny Rastafari, I appreciate y'all fellas always showing up and supporting me. Dan the Man, my good brother. Let's see if y'all have any final comments before I get out of here. Anything before we leave? All right, fellas. Like I said, if y'all want me to cover that Spider-Man plot leak, somebody got to send it to me because I haven't seen it. Because there's so many plot leaks, I can't keep up with it. So if y'all want me to do a video about the Spider-Man plot leak, somebody send me the plot leak on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll try to knock out a video tonight for y'all. Otherwise, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging with me. Peace.
If you like movies and have time to spare, you need to follow Tina LockLair. Lock. You need to follow Tina LockLair. Lock.